Welcome to Leicester in the English Midlands. Welcome to the Mattioli Arena and welcome to the BetVictor Championship League. Today sees the start of Group 6, the penultimate group before the title showdown takes place early next month. Already through to the winners group are Sijawi, Hossein Vafai, world champion Kyron Wilson, Mark Selby and the latest qualifier, Matt Selt, who beat Judd Trump 3-0 in the Group 5 final here last night. That means Trump returns and will play the opening two matches of this session here on Table 1, a little later against Jack Jones, but first against his good pal Jack Lisowski. As for the opening match over on Table 2, where every ball struck can be watched on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel, there's a pair of faces new to the event going head-to-head. David Gilbert against Noppon Saengkham. So sit back and enjoy another attractive group in the BetVictor Championship League, which also features Tom Ford and Joe O'Connor. David Hendon will be in the commentary box for Match 2, but to kick off the day, alongside me, Phil Yates, it's the reigning English amateur champion, Stephen Horworth. Morning, Stephen.
The first round.
Morning, Phil. Morning, everyone again. Thanks very much for your company, as always. And, well, if Group 5 is anything to go by, Phil, that was an absolutely absurd standard, wasn't it, over the 2 days? So many century breaks. The standard was incredible. If we go anywhere close to that, we're in for an absolute treat. And what better matchup to kick things off than Judd Trump against Jack Lisowski?
Yeah, just to do some housekeeping, now that the dust has settled on Group 5. This tournament has been going since 2008. We had 33 centuries in Group 5, the most of any group in the history of the Championship League. And in one session, actually the corresponding session to this, yesterday, 17 centuries were made. Again, a new mark. And the chief contributor to the century total was Judd Trump. Put together 8, so he's on 57 for the season. Remember, there's £100,000 bonus for the first player to make 100 centuries this season. And don't think he's not aware of that. But he's also aware here of just how difficult Jack Lisowski on form is to beat.
Yeah, the standout performance from Jack in recent times for me was against Mark Selby in the UK Championship. How well did he play in that game? You know, he really took it to another level. Just couldn't quite get the job done in the next round against Mark Allen. But he's an incredible talent, isn't he? He has been for as long as I can remember.
And for as long as I can remember, these two have been really good pals. And so it's ironic that the biggest barrier to Jack Lisowski winning a ranking title, if you think about it, has been Judd Trump. Lisowski's been to 6 ranking finals. He lost on one occasion to Selby, twice to Robertson, and 3 times to his opponent here at the moment. Those 3 finals: World Grand Prix in 2020, German Masters 21, Gibraltar Open 21. It gets repetitive, boring to say that Jack Lisowski is the best player in the world yet to win a world ranking title. But the fact remains, he is. Present company accepted, of course.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of the modern game now. The standard is so high that you can't really say that anyone is guaranteed to win a tournament. Like, you look at Jack and you think, of course, he will win one, but I don't think that is the case, you know, and unless he changes his game to a degree, because he can go for spells where he just looks $1 million and, you know, you just can't see how he's not won a tournament, but then he can go missing for a game or two, and that's when he's getting found out. But I'd love to see Jack win a title, I really would.
Yeah, I'm with you entirely. I think it would be great for the game, great for him. I get the impression he probably will win one, but those who say, oh, he's a certainty. Nothing's a certainty in sport.
Foul. Just trump.
Might want to change over to billiards after that shot.
And one other point to make is that Jack has worked with coaches, and he's done bits and bobs with people away from the table, on the table, but ultimately he always reverts back to how he wants to play the game, and that's in the attacking style that we're so used to seeing from him. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, you know, it's his decision how he wants to play the game. That's how he enjoys to play. You know, it's a fine line between changing so much that you don't get the enjoyment out of it, the thrill out of it. This is how he likes to play an open attacking game.
6.
Whether that will be good enough to win a tournament one day, it's yet to be seen.
In the 80s, look at Tony Drago. He played a very similar style. He was wonderful to watch. At his best,
7.
he was phenomenal. People assumed only a matter of time before he captured a ranking title, and it never happened. No, that split didn't happen.
12.
Good attempt, unlucky. Now on table 2, could it be the most electrifying start to the day imaginable? Noppon Saengkham is on a maximum in the first frame against Dave Gilbert. Oh, and our arrival
64.
brings him bad luck. Had to squeeze that red through a very narrow gap, and he's not even won the frame yet.
Yeah, and he's left Dave absolutely plumb in for a counter clearance, so early drama on table 2.
It was a pretty good attempt, this, from Trump. Yes, the red was close to the pocket, but also the white was close to that ball cushion, so not easy. At one point, it looked as though he might double kiss fluke the red in. Now, though, Lisowski's in.
Yeah, he can play into the reds above the black here and be on the one to right corner. He's played it well. He's played it perfectly, in fact. Just open up that black spot a little touch more.
9.
And with that shot as well, just clearing it even further, this is now a great chance for Jack.
$60. 17.
And he's prospered against Trump in the Championship League in the past. They've played 4 times before. Lisowski has won 3 of them. Trump's solitary win, 3-1 in the winners' group a couple of years ago.
24. $32. 33. 40.
He's so good to watch, isn't he, Jack Lisowski, when he gets in this sort of rhythm in amongst the balls, especially when they're all there. You just can't see how he misses. His cue action is so good, and
40.
how he actually strikes the ball as well is what's most impressive.
49.
Yes, and historically, when you look at the list of players who have won world-ranking events, it is true to say that Lisowski is better than several of them. That doesn't mean an awful lot. They've done it and he hasn't yet.
55.
But in terms of entertainment value, he's right up there.
56.
And also, this doesn't mean anything. I know it shouldn't come into the equation, but I think it's worth mentioning that he's such a terrific lad.
It's that sort of mistake that lets him down on the odd occasion.
63.
There's no reason to have not been on these reds to right corner. He may still can chip it in, but boy, it's thin. Perhaps just lacks that little bit of discipline
64.
when he gets nicely in amongst them. He's got away with one there because he potted the red.
47 in front, 51 on. He'd be advised to keep the green where it is. And maybe do the same thing with the yellow. Get it safe.
Lisowski 64.
He would have really liked to have killed the frame off there in one visit, stopped Judd coming back to the table. He should have really killed the frame off there and then. Now he's just got to endure a little bit of pain as Trump immediately promotes that safe yellow.
Yes, and he does have a little bit of leeway, doesn't he, in terms of the colours he can pot here. So now he's 41 behind.
6.
I think the only obvious stumbling block would be the aforementioned green.
I think this is a really good chance for a steal because that green's not badly placed considering Judd's a left-hander. He can pop the yellow, it's all about yellow to green for me. If he gets right in behind the green, I think he wins the frame because it doesn't have to do too much to get onto the brown. And the pockets are playing on the generous side. Judd will know that because of the previous 2 days' play. Virtually played all his matches, bar a couple, I think, on this table, so he knows how it's playing.
40.
Good that he's played a lot on table 1. You don't want to tuck him away on table 2.
If we're looking to just float this yellow in, possibly go behind the brown,
21.
baulk cushion, and then across. He does have the option. He can do anything with this yellow, really. He can just screw direct or across the face of the blue. That's what he's tried. It's all about pace. The line is good. It's a little heavy.
23.
Might be okay, though. To have this sort of angle on it just means he can play it even slower and get the cue ball further out.
Leaning over, though. Your alignment is really compromised when you do this. Didn't make any difference. As sweet as a nut.
Yeah, it was a blessing in disguise where he landed, really. He didn't play for that much angle on the green, but in getting it, it worked absolutely to perfection. This is what I mean with Jack. How's he lost this frame from here? He's got the black off the spot with reds everywhere. He has to cut out that little mistake.
35.
Especially against someone like Judd. He's just going to punish you. It's as simple as that.
Still, just a glimmer of hope, though, because cue ball didn't travel as far as he wanted. Mind you, there's no one better at thumping that cue ball all around the table. Nevertheless, this black with the cue ball so close to the side cushion is far from a certainty.
Yeah, this is smelly at any stage, never mind in the first frame.
48 in the first frame.
That was a brilliant clearance from Judd Trump, but again, it was a wasteful frame from Jack Lisowski. Has the die been cast there? Trump leads 1-0. In short order, the opening frames on both tables are over. We know about Judd Trump's steal of the first frame on the black from Jack Lisowski with a terrific 48 clearance. I can tell you, David Gilbert is 1-0 down to Noppon Saengkham. Noppon Saengkham, one of, I think, everyone's favourite players. He's such a good bloke, and he's never to be underestimated.
Yeah, I'm absolutely gobsmacked he didn't convert that chance in the first frame to a maximum, because I've got the nickname Mr. Maximum for Noppon, particularly in practice. I've played with him no end of times in Sheffield at the academy, and every single time we seem to play he makes a max. It's just relentless, really. So good around the black spot.
And Steve, he's so dedicated. He was here late afternoon yesterday, putting plenty of time in on the practice tables, because of course the Championship League is played on Rasson tables, which are only used for the two Championship Leagues, Invitation and Ranking, and the Champion of Champions each season. So there is a definite nuance to them.
See, this will be an interesting shot selection by Judd here. He'll probably be eyeing up this red down the rail to right to left corner. Jack's left it him on purpose, but they're just flying in at any pace. Of course, Judd knows that. He's played on this table over the last couple of days. Jack is still to get to know the conditions.
Eight. Nine.
Misjudgment there, not on the angle to pot the blue he wanted. another misjudgment, it seems, there. Played for the red close to the top right-hand corner pocket, and I think it's obscured by the pink. The potting angle, certainly. Yeah. That was very heavy-handed.
Well, that's putting it lightly, Phil. That was an awful shot that Judd's just played. You could see from his reaction, as soon as he struck it walking around the table, he knew he'd overhit it.
Just trump 14.
Big let off that for Jack. Let's try and use all these little moments that Judd makes the odd mistake. Try and feed off that. Oh, what a pot that is. Well, he deserves to be on the black. Has the cue ball just about held up. How well has he cued this? Committed to the pot fully. He was leaving the world for Judd.
Almost ran too far for the black because he hit the red into the thin part of the pocket, and that's why the white carried on a little. But thankfully, because of the quality of the opening red, he deserved to be on the black, and he was. But there, again, loose.
16.
Yeah, he's took a gamble there going into the reds, knowing that it was likely that he would be on that red nearest to the right corner, but just got too much screw on it, and he's lost the cue ball to the side cushion now. Needs a good recovery pot. Oh, that's brilliant.
17.
That was very, very thin.
Twenty. 20. 29. 30.
'Got a busy spell coming up, has Lisowski. He plays Alexander Ersenbacher of Switzerland in the first round of the German Masters next week.
38.
Of course, he's in the draw for the Welsh Open as well. It's either Ben Wollaston or an as yet unknown opponent. And then he goes to the World Open towards the end of February.
40.
3 very big ranking events for him.
40.
Well, he's got himself in a perfect position here, Jack. He's once again a few balls away from securing the frame. He needs to just steady himself, keep that focus there. Just dropped for a split second in the first frame, ran out of position from nowhere.
$60. 60.
Just needs one more red now, and he's got 2 by the pink that should be unmissable.
$67.
When these two play each other, the frames fly by.
can't see there being any overtime for us today,
74.
Phil. Not with these two involved.
76.
Well, this is the ultimate blueprint for
80.
snooker success. Knocking a red from distance and dish.
84.
Yeah, now a real chance of a first century of this Group 6. First of what will probably be very, very many.
90.
Now, he's not too clever, right-handed Jack Lisowski, but that shot was so elementary, it was well within his capabilities.
$96. 98.
This came off that brilliant long red that he floated full length of the table, Jack, and he's taken these so well. This green for the ton.
101. 105.
This is the 114th century of the tournament. The record is 159 for a completed championship league.
110.
We're very much on course to shatter that.
116. On the frame, Lisowski.
Lisowski does not bother with the black, and so the world number 22 has shared the first 2 frames with the world number 1. Welcome back to the Mattioli Arena. Welcome back to Leicester, and welcome back to the opening day of Group 6 in the BetVictor Championship League, where Dave Gilbert is looking to make the most of his second bite of the cherry in this second frame.
4.
He was in, made a 40 break, missed a black off its spot, but Saengkham allowed him to be back at the table for this. Oh, but the penultimate red goes astray. Not good signs thus far for Gilbert, who's a former winner of the ranking version of the Championship League, of course.
Yeah, he's missed a couple, Dave. We've just kept one eye on our monitor in the commentary booth. He's missed a couple in the first frame, couldn't take the chance when Noppon broke down on the maximum attempt. He's had numerous bites of the cherry in this frame, and it's looking like a certainty that he's going to go 2-0 down on table 2, so worrying signs for Gilbert early on.
And he's the kind of player, Gilbert, who mulls over mistakes.
Foul. Just trump full.
Well, 4 points away, but not the worst scenario. Just going back to Gilbert, I said he mulls over mistakes. I think every player does, but he more than the majority.
Yeah, and the only downside to doing that, particularly in a tournament like this, when you've got 6 matches to be played over the course of today and tomorrow in the group phase alone, you don't want to take your mistakes from the previous match into your next game, because they can come thick and fast, and you don't want to let one result affect the next. The groups can turn very quickly, the matches can turn very quickly. Got to try and stay positive, because there's always another game to play.
Foul. No miss. Just trump full. Yeah. 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 Just. Foul. No miss. Just trump full. Yeah.
Trump having the cue ball replaced more out of hope than expectation, but all of these penalty points gratefully accepted.
Yeah. Just.
Yeah, and again, Jack just still getting used to the conditions. The cushions have played quite soft. The tables were recovered the other day. And again, he's
Foul.
short.
No miss. Just trump full.
So while the white is being replaced, I can tell you that Noppon Saengkham did clear up. Dave Gilbert missed the penultimate red in the second frame. Saengkham tidied up with no problem whatsoever, so he leads 2-0. And here, Trump has got a cheap 16 points.
Yeah, it doesn't feel a lot at this stage of the frame, but as this frame unfolds, it means, excuse me, it means later it's effectively 2 reds and 2 blacks that he doesn't need. So for such a basic snooker escape from Jack, it could be quite telling later on. That's a good safety shot that Judd's played, because he's just swung the cue ball around enough that he's cut off the left side of the table for Jack. And, well, there's a lot of congestion down the right side. Whether he can even get a return back to balk down that side, I'm not sure. Yeah, he's in trouble here. Can't lay up to the loose red on the right side cushion, because the reds will pass the black into the left corner pocket. Hasn't really got the 2 cushion thin glance escape either, so he's in a little spot of bother here, Jack. The red on the right side cushion is causing him a lot of problems, because there is a path down the right side, but it looks like he's going to go dangerously close to that red. Has he found a plant? No, he's tried to come down the right side. He's done well, really. Okay, he's cannoned off another red, but at least he's got some distance. Judd can play a very similar shot once again.
next few weeks very important in the season of Jack Lisowski. He's 16th on the one-year list, so he's okay for the World Grand Prix. He will surely play in Hong Kong. But then it's the top 16 on the one-season list for the Players' Championship. Clearly, he's on the borderline there. And then the ultimate prize would be to finish in the top 12 on the one-year list to make the Tour Championship. So work needed to be in those two really big events. Not a problem for Trump. He's number one by a mile. People say, oh yeah, it's because he won that £500,000 in Saudi Arabia that he's number one on the one season list. Well, if you take that away, he would still be number one.
Yeah, he's just so consistent, isn't he, Trump? He's always at the business end of events. As Lisowski tries to pot his way out of trouble. Felt a bit erratic that from Jack, but it wasn't. He was trying to get the cue ball back to baulk, ultimately thread the white through the reds, and he's achieved that part of the shot. He would have loved the red to have gone in, of course, but has he left something to this right corner? At first glance, no. And Judd's got the issue of that red being over the corner pocket. He's got to try and cover that now.
Didn't want to avoid the pink because of the in-off, and look where the red is. So, unfortunate for Trump. Lisowski's previous shot was very lucky for him. And two shots in succession like that often mould frames.
What?
Luck on his side again, Stephen.
Yeah, that's a big result. He took a chance again there, Jack. Just trying to promote a high-value colour. The pink is out of the equation. He wasn't 100% confident over where the cue ball was going to land, but he has flicked the black into play. He's on the blue. All of a sudden, he's got a chance to score a few. Had the black not have been promoted, it would have been a really tough table.
Now, there we were saying that Dave Gilbert might well mull on mistakes. Not so in this frame. He knocked in an absolutely rib-snorting red.
6.
And he's won it in a single visit.
77.
Vastly improved on the first two frames.
78. 7. 84. 85.
This will boost his spirits.
40.
I thought that Group 5 was a very tough act to follow in terms of quality. But already we've seen a century from Lisowski, and maybe we're going to see one from Dave Gilbert.
$20.
100.
20.
Red not quite there when Gilbert had the chance to set an early mark for the £500 highest break prize. Nevertheless, he does get to 3 figures, and he puts his first frame of the day on the board.
24.
Been a couple of times where Jack could have ran out of position here, but he's still at the table, still going. It's been a bit of a messy break so far. The blue ended up on the black spot, the black's on the pink spot. He's just tidying things up now. He's opened the reds around the black spot as well, so slowly becoming a good chance, this.
$37. 38. 43. 40.
Yes, in that mini passage of play, Lisowski was lucky. But when he's in the balls, he's so silky.
Yeah, he's just looking here where to leave his cue ball. Not sure if he can get enough backspin on the white to play a little holding cannon to the red directly above the black. So if he can't, he can just float this in. He's played the little cannon, and there was always a chance it could go wrong because he really had to nip into that cue ball. You get a touch more bit of backspin on that, and you just lose the white. Watch the contact on the red. Catches it, but then just loses it. Needed a fuller hit on that red.
Lisowski 51.
You know, he needed to screw that back, so therefore had to hit it with a certain amount of pace. At that acute angle with the cue ball and red so close together, that was a very difficult shot. And he played it knowing full well the trump would be right in should he miss. Oh, but on this occasion, Trump unable to take advantage. Stole the first frame. I thought he might be in to steal the third.
Yeah, it's an unexpected miss from Trump. Not really doing anything with the cue ball either, just pushing through for the blue. Didn't expect him to miss that. So now already with a very healthy lead in this frame, it's going to be 2-1 to Jack Lisowski.
9.
I think the only surprise of the morning so far has been the fact that Gilbert and Saengkham are marginally outpacing these two flyers.
17.
Yeah, it's pretty pedestrian stuff, this. 3 frames in 45 minutes. Come on, lads, what are you doing? Stop messing around.
25.
Of course, in the previous group, Judd Trump won a match in 27 minutes. 3-0, thank you very much.
30. 30.
And what he did in Group 5, he won his first 4 matches to be certain of being in the playoffs after the first day of competition. In danger of losing his first match here and being under a touch of pressure.
Cheers. Thank you. Jack Lisowski, 30. On the front.
Jack Lisowski goes 2-1 in front after falling 1-0 behind. Jack Lisowski making his first appearance in this year's
Fourth round.
Championship League.
Good trump.
He's on the verge of claiming a notable scalp. He leads Judd Trump 2-1. Trump, though, in the previous group, okay, he wasn't ultimately successful, but he did produce some really good stuff when it mattered. And the first opportunity of frame 4 falls to the former world champion.
He attempted the red, but he expected the cue ball to find the path back to safety. He's caught the red behind the black and instantly gifts a chance to Judd Trump. And he doesn't need much asking, does he, Trump, to take an opportunity when it comes. Jack will be hoping he messes up at some stage. He'd probably like to go into the pack of reds while that red is over that right corner pocket, because it provides just a free chance to bring more reds into play. Just wonder if he can leave himself an angle off this black from this next red to play that.
Seven.
Well, it's going to be pink and then the loose red left of the pink. So the pink being spotted in a direct line beneath its own spot, as close to it as possible without touching another ball.
13.
And that now provides straightforward access to the pack of reds.
14.
Trump was just a little bit worried there that the cue ball might be travelling onto the red, but it stopped in time.
20. $26. $33. $34.
There's another very clever shot that he's played there, Trump. Finished low on the black, using the pink to open the reds. Had to catch it full-ish. Didn't play it with so much pace, it was at a controlled pace. Very nicely played. There's one good positional shot away here from being back in prime position. Just pushed a couple of reds to that side cushion throughout this break that won't concern him. Happy enough to leave them where they are. They provide a bit of insurance, but he'll be looking to just win this frame at this visit now.
47.
Yes, and as discussed, not just to win the frame, but also to make yet another century.
48.
Get closer to that £100,000 jackpot.
Just looking really far in advance for this break. Those two reds on the right side cushion might be a plant anyway. I'm sure Judd has just had a little glance at them. Of course, the frame is what he wants first, but the ton will certainly be in his mind.
53.
I think it's important, though, to have the correct mindset when it comes to Trump today and tomorrow. Yes, centuries are a goal, but you have to play
58.
normal, proper match play snooker. Because if you're not at the table, you're not going to be making any kind of break, let alone a century. So you need to be quite hard, play the conventional shots, and then hope you hit a spell of excellence.
59.
That previous shot from blue to the red was an amazing positional shot. You're right in what you said yesterday, Phil. I don't think there's anyone better at going in and out of baulk, whichever side he plays it from and whichever side he uses on the cue ball. He's gone through the green and brown there with lots of right-hand side, but had to power it in to create the angle. Couldn't have landed his cue ball any better on that red. Brilliant shot.
And now here,
65.
it's a case of working out a plant, which is frame ball. They have to be made, these two. Never
56.
any sweat.
Yeah, the frame is won now, and he's just looking at those two reds. They're certainly close to a plant, and the way the pockets have been playing, it may just gobble it up anyway. You see from the overhead, it's maybe just set to the top cushion jaw, but at a steady pace, it will probably go in.
73.
He'll need both reds, though, to make the century. So is he going to try and promote them here from this red? And he's tried it. He's had the double kiss. He's been a little unfortunate.
Yeah, know where you're coming from. At least, though, he's on a colour and not a bad angle, but still work to do.
86.
And the way he's approaching this, it's crystal clear that centuries are right at the top of his priority list.
Well, he's left himself high up on this black enough that he can play to develop that red. He's got the perfect angle to do it. But that again just shows you how he feels this table is playing. He's underhit that by some way, but he's played to drop in behind it. Didn't fancy missing it down the rail. Now, this will be some shot. Might have to try and double this past the black into the corner pocket. Close.
Just Trump 94 on the frame.
Thwarted in the 90s. It wasn't the nervous 90s. It was just a case of hitting that black a little too thick for his own good positionally. So no century, but he does force a deciding frame. Welcome back to the start of Group 6 in the BetVictor Championship League. Already 2 results are known. Here on Table 2, Saengkham with a couple of 60-plus breaks defeated Dave Gilbert 3-1. And that's why we're now watching the all-Leicester battle between Joe O'Connor and Tom Ford. Contrasting styles, these two. O'Connor, hard match player, very manufactured, makes the most of his ability, and he's very tough to beat. As for Tom Ford, he's much more of a stylist. Ford actually thought last night he would probably be relegated, but the Stuart Bingham defeat in his last match by Neil Robertson meant that Ford's back for another go. O'Connor, yesterday in Group 5, well, he made the semi-final playoffs despite only accumulating 2 points in the round-robin phase. So I suppose, David Hendon, both 28 are playing on house money.
Yeah, I mean, it was an awkward hour or so for Joe because he obviously couldn't affect in the end where he was placed as those last matches were going on, but delighted to be back. I'm sure it's a short trip, as it is for Tom, both Leicester men. Chance to build up a bit of form ahead of next week's German Masters. It's about this time last year he came into form, Joe O'Connor. Of course, he made a maximum, got to the final of this, and then went on to beat Mark Selby at the Crucible on his debut.
As always, we will keep you right up to speed with what occurs over on Table 2. It is available on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel. Now, though, with Ian Wagstaff refereeing, it is Jack Jones against Judd Trump. One, the world number 1. The other, a newly minted world record holder. Jack Jones in this tournament has made 26 centuries. That's 3 more than any other player in any other professional event in the game's history. Previously, the record was held at 23 by Kyron Wilson and Matthew Selt. So every time he makes a century from here on in this tournament, Jones will be setting a new record.
Yeah, and the frightening thing is, I mean, he could, after this group, playing 2 more, couldn't he? He could play in Group 7, and then if he wins out the winners' group, so who knows what it could end up as, but he should be proud of that. You know, it's tough to, in these short matches, to just produce that sort of form, but he has done. Of course, Group 5 was the first one in which he didn't actually reach the final.
Yeah, when these two met in Group 5, Trump won 3-1. It was a cracking contest, actually. Trump made a couple of centuries, but the most important thing was the 70 clearance he made to win the first frame after Jones had erred when it looked as though he was going to draw first blood.
Jack Jones caught that a bit thick, hence the cue ball has not made the baulk line, and this is dangerous territory. We know Trump's in good nick after that first match with Lisowski, finished off with the ton. But he doesn't pop that. And he's not got away with it.
Yeah, where the cue ball was, I think he wasn't too bad, but then the red came down and very rudely removed it.
Yes, and Trump doesn't have, I mean, you mentioned that match, but in general, the best memories playing Jack Jones. Of course, they did play at the Crucible last year in the World Championship quarterfinals. The expectation was a Trump-O'Sullivan semi-final. In fact, that had been talked about for months in advance because they'd been the 2 players of the years. But Jack Jones beat Trump and Stuart Bingham beat O'Sullivan. And in the final session, I commentated on it. Trump was very poor. You know, he was feeling the pressure. His highest break was 22. He was missing balls you couldn't believe. That's the Crucible for you. It wouldn't happen anywhere else. But a lot of that is down to the pressure that Jones put him under. A player who just refuses to buckle. With such tenacity.
They have played this season. 5-1 for Trump in the last 16 of the Xi'an Grand Prix, new ranking event in China.
9.
And of course Jones now is playing the best snooker of his career. One of his best early wins actually was over Trump, first round of the China Open in 2018.
Sorry Phil, I was just going to say, I just think Jack now, and it started before last year, it started the year before
16.
when he got to the quarters at Sheffield. He's got a reputation that the other top players are wary of him. You know, he's not at all the sort of draw you want, because they all know what he's capable of, and he just makes it tough.
17.
Absolutely, and we were talking about this from a different viewpoint yesterday, about who will be in the top 16 when it comes to the World Championship. There are going to be so many brilliant players involved in qualifying, and that means so many intriguing first round matches there at the Crucible itself.
24.
Well, conceivably Jones might have to
25.
qualify.
Yeah, I mean, then you think, well, you know, he'll draw Kyron on day one and all that, repeated the final. But anyway, long time to go before then. He's in his favourite place here in the Championship League, scoring. He's played every day. This is day 11.
32.
Laws a school of thought that in the semi-final of the group last night against Matt Selt, he started to look a little tired. I'm not so sure, actually. I think he's highly motivated. And with a good night's sleep, he's come back today and normal service resumed.
Yes, and all reds and blacks so far. Of course, when he made that record at the time, 24th century, obviously he's had 2 more since. He was on for a 147 in that frame, wasn't he? That would have been some way to do it.
41.
He has made one in this tournament, of course. He's first in competition in an earlier group. It's very likely, I think, he could, even if he doesn't win the Championship League, still be the top money earner from this tournament. Well, played the full cannon to that red. He just glanced it.
48.
Still take this one to the middle, though, and stay on the black. The chance, Phil.
49.
Well, in terms of the ones I've been commentating on this week, I think this is the 4th or 5th really good opportunity.
Well, certainly one to far corner. I think there's one to left middle as well. Obviously there's that red towards the right hand side cushion, but if you can get him behind it, you'd be confident, I think, of potting it.
57.
Mark Davis, if we were talking about this in the players' room yesterday, he waited a long time to make his first maximum. It was in the Championship League, and then in a later group he made a second one.
$64.
65.
Well, as ever, it's about securing the frame first, and 2 more pots will do that. Yeah, he's nicely in business here, so as I say, this red is frame ball, and then it's about staying on the black and trying to make a second maximum in this tournament, and indeed of his career.
Yeah, as Dave said, Mark Davis, the only player thus far to make 2 147s in the same professional event, so having broken one world record yesterday, Jones could well equal another here today. The red on that right-hand side cushion, okay, it might look awkward, and it is. But these pockets are playing generously, and he's right-handed. Everything's in his favour, everything.
$81. $88.
A player involved in this group, Nopon Saengkham, made the first 147 this season.
89.
This would be the 9th. We're only just over halfway home, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, the general standard now is incredible, really. Been a lot of near misses also. Of course, the most recent was Sean Murphy's last Saturday at the Masters in that extraordinary atmosphere, Alexandra Palace.
96. $97.
Let's hope he makes it, not just for him, but also for the referee, Ian Wagstaff. Not the most well-known referee, not the most experienced, so it would be quite an occasion for him. So taking the problem red now, and he's dropped on it plumb.
104.
Well, it's his 27th century, so he's extended that record, but he wants a lot more. Another 10 pots for second maximum.
$105.
So in theory, that was the problem ball dealt with, but there's other problems that can crop up, of course, even though it might look straightforward.
Didn't want to be too cute there with the cue ball in terms of risking obscuring his path to the red with the pink. That's why he's slightly out of absolutely ideal position. Oh dear, it was hit too thick. Okay, it went in, but had he found the middle of the pocket, the cue ball might have been on the black. What does he do, Dave? There's nothing he can do, surely.
I mean, he's very close to it. He's going to have to kind of whack it, I guess, to use a technical term. I'll tell you what, this is close. But is he on the yellow? The black's in. Now what?
Well, that, as a pot to keep a 147 going, is right up there in the annals of snooker history. Come on, Jack. Completely impossible. Oh, what a shame. Only 120. Judd Trump sees the funny side Jack Jones almost got this match off to a simply perfect start. Okay, the 147 proved beyond Jack Jones, but what a black this was. An absolutely extraordinary pot. Cue ball and object ball couldn't have been much closer together. Blind pocket, distance, on a 147, and yet he knocked it in. Sadly, though, the break ended there.
One.
But deja vu.
Well, he's on the black. It's early days, to say the least. But anyway, it just, I mean, the way he's playing is incredible, really, in this tournament. It's bringing what players always want to do, their practice form. We all play well in practice. Bringing that to tournaments.
And there have been plenty of instances, examples of this over the years, where players have performed beautifully in the Championship League, and it's continued on in other tournaments. So watch out for Jones in forthcoming events.
9.
The red closest to the cue ball, I believe, will go to the right-hand middle pocket. And if it does slot in and position is obtained, this is another golden chance.
17.
Well, this will be the 18th black with a red he's potted in this match.
Four.
In the game of billiards, players, by the game's very nature, spend an awful lot of time at the table compiling very substantial breaks. The top players, that is.
32.
the big thing there is to retain your concentration. And I think that's also the issue here. He's not ideal on this red. Might be advised to forget the max and just concentrate on a humdrum century.
Well, that's what he was doing, but he's missed the red. So Judd Trump,
Jones, 32.
he's being introduced to the table in this match because he's not spent much time on it so far. Of course, he already won a match, though, this morning with the win over Lisowski, 3-2. Trump actually set a record himself this week. He became the first player to have made at least 50 centuries in 10 different seasons. Neil Robertson had also done it in 9. So, I mean, that's an incredible rate of scoring, isn't it? I know we've got more tournaments these days, but even so, he's still got to make the breaks, and he is doing.
Yeah, back in the 90s, Hendry set the record with 53, and I thought,
8.
that will take some beating. As you say, more tournaments, more playing opportunities, yes.
9.
But these days, 50 is... It's a reasonable amount, but it's nothing to make headlines.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, there's more tournaments for everyone else as well, but they haven't done it 10 times. What he wants, of course, is that century of centuries, and there is a £100,000 bonus. The first player to do it this season. He seems really the only player at this stage likely to, because he's made 1 today, so he's on 58. He's got 2 days in this group, maybe another group to come in Group 7. You suspect we'll probably see him in the winners' group. And then all the tournaments after that.
70. $18.
This is crazy. It's preposterous. Another 147 chance on table 2 has emerged for Joe O'Connor. Can he repeat the max he made in this tournament last season?
Well, it's definitely a chance. I mean, the pink obviously is
25.
an issue. I guess blue to pink, then pink to black, but you've got to get that far first. Deal with these reds.
26.
But it could have been. I mean, if Jack Jones had made his and Joe makes his here, you know, that could have been 2 in the space of about 10 minutes.
$33. $34.
80.
Not very often Joe Trump is overshadowed, if only momentarily.
Well, it looks a very good chance for Trump to level up.
39. $40.
And for Trump, there is enough on the table to make another century, which is a real motivation. There's no getting away from it.
46.
Make sure the logo's on, Joe.
47.
I'll tell you what, that black caught an awful lot of the far jaw. That's one of the reasons why we're seeing so many big breaks. It is
54.
undoubtedly true that these pockets are playing rather generously.
It's a very niche fact, Phil, which you'll enjoy about Joe O'Connor's 147.
89.
No one can do it this year
55.
because he made it on the 29th of February last year.
Dave, you're my hero.
Just trying to promote that red. It didn't really happen, but it's still possible there. And this red obviously is on to continue.
96.
Just to point out that Joe Trump is on frame ball on the other table. We could be doing ourselves out of work here, Dave. We're proving that you can commentate on two matches at the same time.
Well, I mean, I thought yesterday was incredible. We had 25 centuries, didn't we? I think the 52 frames were played. But already today, we're seeing the quality of the players come to the fore again. Trump trying to make another ton on table one. Joe O'Connor will, I'm sure, pot this black, but
76.
obviously these two reds need his attention to continue with the 147. He's already tried to move this one out a little bit more into open play, the one on the right-hand side. Well, he's tried it again, and it still hasn't kind of shifted.
104.
$85. 90. 96.
The red is in.
103.
The black is in. Another century for Trump. Now, all eyes on Joe O'Connor. Again, he thought he'd missed that one. But he's okay. He played that with running side to obtain position. He thought he'd overcut it.
Yeah, it certainly used all the pocket, didn't it? A few tables that certainly wouldn't have gone in, but it did. So, as I say, the pink is going to play its part clearly here. Going to have to finish the right side of the blue to go down for the pink, and then it's about controlling position for black, assuming he gets that far, of course.
The one thing about O'Connor, he's got the right temperament for this kind of situation. He's unflappable, level-headed, cool. Another black that wiped its feet.
So, from brown to blue, needs to leave himself this side of the blue as we look.
125.
The nerves will be growing. He is cool, I agree, but still big moments here. You've come so far down the line, and now looking at where he wants to finish on the pink. got a lot of space to get on the black, but also because he's got so much room, there's a chance for it to go wrong.
$129.
11 months ago here, he made the 200th 147 in pro snooker against Elliot Slesser. Can he make the 211th today?
$134.
Wanted more angle than that. He's got some, but this will take some effort. And as Stephen Horworth mentioned yesterday, you'd never call him a power player, would you, Joe O'Connor? Just not got that kind of cue action.
Yeah, I mean, this was always the shot, wasn't it? We said right from early on. And how close can he get to the black here? Could be going to leave himself certainly a missable pot. Let's see. It's a good effort, but this is going to be a tricky one.
140.
This is a little bit like Stephen Hendry's against Jimmy Whitefield at the Crucible in the one table 30 years ago.
Ford did well there. Sitting down, staying quiet, praying that his mate knocks this in. Oh no! No!
140.
Joe O'Connor makes a 140
O'Connor.
and then misses the black. It's happened to Tepchire Nu on more than one occasion. It's a horrible thing to see. Ken Doherty did it in a Masters final. Joe O'Connor is feeling sick, even though he's just made the highest break of the group and he leads Tom Ford 2-0.
3.
Well, Dave. I think that's the first time I've ever commentated on a 140 with a miss black.
Well, I remember Mark Selby did it in China, although it's kind of never mentioned, but which I'm sure Mark's happy about. But yeah, agonising for Joe. I mean, he wasn't nice on the black, but you still half fancied him to get it. But he's unfortunately on that list that you don't want to be on. You've named a couple of people on it. I think Robin Hull did it in the World Qualifying as well.
Yeah, that year the World Qualifier was split, I think, into 2 venues, and I was at the other one. So, writing for the newspapers and magazines and stuff, rang him up for a quote and said, "What happened, Robin?" He went, "I bleep." Yeah. So, I'm not going to say the rest of it.
A Finnish word, is it?
Yeah, well, no. Anglo-Saxon. Yeah.
Well, there's always drama about a 147, whether they make them or not, and that was pretty horrible for Joe. He is 2-0 up in the match, though. Meanwhile, what has Jack Jones done here? Well, sort of half got away with it, I suppose you could say. Could have left a dead simple red. He's still on to middle this. So a lot of drama about in this session.
Yeah, and of course, look on the positives for Joe O'Connor.
1.
He has set the target for the high break in the group. He made the high break in Group 5 with a 138. That was worth £500. The 140 could be as well.
Go back to 1983. What's that now? 42 years ago. Alex Higgins, who was not known as a pop star, released a record off the back of being the reigning world champion. And it was called 147. That's my idea of heaven. And it's still true, isn't it, to this day? You mentioned we've had over 200. It's, you know, they've become more regular, but for players, it is the ultimate achievement within one frame. And the fact Joe'd only made one, you know, obviously tells you that. He's a fantastic player. That was a chance to double his tally. He'll be disappointed for sure.
155, let's have a jive, maybe?
Well, all I'll say is there was no follow-up single.
We're having too much fun here, Dave.
30.
Yeah, you could see Ford in his chair there in the previous frame, willing O'Connor on to make that 147. Ford's done it 5 times in pro competition. He knows what it means, the feeling you get. At least O'Connor's had one previous 147, so
21.
the hurt will be abated by that. But even so, to get that far and then miss the black.
Meanwhile, Trump played a lovely shot off the black there to open the red, so he's eyeing another big break here himself. Not a 147, but I think we've had enough drama as far as that's concerned this morning.
28.
I thought before the Championship League, with Trump on 49 centuries, getting to 100 looked unlikely.
9.
If he can leave this event, let's say on 70, which seems reasonable, he got 8 in the last group, already had 2 in this one, and could have another one here. If he can leave this event on 70, there's enough snooker to make another 30, definitely.
35. 36.
Well, in the course of a normal world ranking event, if Trump goes all the way and gets to the final, he's definitely capable of making at least 10 in any event. Now, that's a tough ask, I know that, but he is a premier break builder. So double figures in one tournament,
43.
other than this, very much on, especially when you consider the World Championship is played over such a lengthy distance, and indeed the Tour Championship
44.
exclusively best of 19. So yeah, you're right, the 100 tons in a season is coming into sharp focus.
Of course, the first man to do it was Neil Robertson, against Trump actually, at the Crucible 11 years ago now, 2014.
49.
And at that time Trump said he didn't think, you know, because Robertson, as he does, celebrated quite wildly, he said he didn't think it was kind of that big a deal, but I think he
50.
changed his mind when he did it, and he would certainly change his mind if a cheque was on the way for 100 grand.
Fifty-seven. 58.
He'll dislike that immensely. Short on the blue, at least he's an inch short, so he does have some form of angle. And as we previously discussed earlier today, when it comes to going in and out of bulk off the blue, there's no one more expert. For most players, that was not too
63.
taxing. Would have liked the cue ball to travel another foot or so. So again, very swiftly we've arrived at frame ball. And now Trump can turn his attention to making a century. Should have a pre-recorded sentence, though. Just press a button and save ourselves the problem of repeating that.
72.
It is truly extraordinary what's happening here.
Yeah, of course, he didn't get on that last red, did he, in that frame against Lisowski? He was on 94. But he's made up for it since then today. Trying to make his third of the day, 60th of the season.
79.
Jack Jones, he just mishit a safety. Left a red to
80.
right middle. And that's all she wrote for him in terms of this frame.
87. Trump 87.
Well, that really is a rarity. OK, he's fallen short of a century a couple of times through surrendering position, but that was a plain old miss. So, only 87 from Judd Trump, but he does lead by 2 frames to 1. Judd Trump. It's been a great season for him so far, and this morning he's not been too shabby either. He's beaten Jack Lisowski 3-2 from 2-1 down. Now from 1-0 down, he leads Jack Jones 2-1. So get this frame on the board, and with 2 points, he's already looking well on the way to the semi-final playoffs tomorrow night. But Jones will not go lightly. Perfect pot. Absolutely millimetre perfect kiss.
Had a message from one of the great snooker fans, Kelly Barker, who's watching. She said, what a standard we're seeing this week so far. I reckon we'll finally see a maximum before the end of the week, maybe 2. Well, I tend to agree, Kelly. Maybe by the end of today, the way it's going. And Kelly's also, she says she's had her annual leave approved for Sheffield, so she's off to the Crucible again in the spring. And will, of course, have a great time there.
Yeah, nice to hear from you, Kelly. Glad you're watching and glad you're going to be at the game's greatest venue. And long may it remain thus.
He made that look easy, didn't he? I mean, he obviously hadn't played to land on the blue like that, but has thundered it in all the same. Yeah, I mean, we talk about the players obviously wanting to play at the Crucible and win there, but for fans as well, it's become a venue people now travel to from all around the world. Every year you meet people there from different parts of the world who just feel they have to be part of it.
Thank you. 15.
Now that wasn't the best. Using the rest, it was rather unusual to do so. That's the reason he's short of the blue. So he's got a choice here of trying to manufacture something from nothing in terms of the positional angle, or just accept his fate and leave a mid-range pot, which I think is going to be the most likely scenario. Nicely done.
21.
As you saw briefly there, the pink will easily pot to the middle pocket. Can tell you, Tom Ford is his first frame on the board against Joe O'Connor. O'Connor leads 2-1. Ford making a break of 86 in frame 3.
Sector.
The imposing figure of Ian Wagstaff here in charge. Just seeing if he can get the pink in.
When Benham Wollaston was here on Monday, he was saying that he played in the Coventry League, and Ian Wagstaff apparently plays in that. Useful player, according to Ben.
Yeah, and that helps for an official, because it means they're more likely to anticipate, you know, the next shot, where to stand, how to react, which is particularly significant for quicker players. He's got a bit of a nightmare here, though, hasn't he? It seems that pink doesn't quite go in line there, so the gloves are off as he puts it underneath the reds. Got to be in a line with the spots.
Thank you. 27.
You know, when players get into this position, you almost expect a century. That's the way it's been. But even the very best, when they're splitting the balls, do need a degree of fortune. Okay.
35.
Jones does have an attacking option, but it's not exactly enviable. Not
Jones,
enough pace
35.
because he was trying to hold on the black. Now then, is this Trump's chance to win the match? He will view it as such.
I think this is the thing, because the general play has been very open. You know, you're leaving chances if you don't win frames in one visit. Not always like this, we know that. But it's just the way they're playing in this event. So, as I say, if you break down, more than likely you're leaving the lot on.
Six.
taking his time here, Trump, just plotting his course.
Seven.
And the removal of the pink clears up some congestion and makes the chance even better.
Well, in Group 5, he sewed up his qualification for the playoffs on day one. He can do the same today. If he wins this frame here, he's on 2 points. He's got 2 more matches later, Trump, against Dave Gilbert and Tom Ford. So even if you only won one of those, you know, it'd be very unlikely to miss out on a top 4 spot tomorrow. In the final yesterday, I mean, he went for it early on. He played the open game. He just missed a couple of pots. Matt Selt made 2 centuries off the back of them, and then in the last frame broke off. Matt Selt got in and looked like he'd make a 3rd century. Missed actually a black on 95. So Trump didn't do a lot wrong in that final.
21.
Well, if you watched our coverage last night, you'll know I interviewed Matt Selt afterwards. As soon as the interview was over, he said just how gutted he was he didn't make 3 centuries.
I know, and there'll be people watching, of course, who've never got close to making 1. You know, it's not an easy game, this, despite what we're watching here.
22.
Well, all the reds are in the open, aren't they? So it's now just a question of manoeuvring this cue ball, and it's a massive chance to get the match won and get another point on the board, go top for now.
And we know what Trump's intentions are after that shot. Normally he might have played for the blue. He wants to clear up to win the frame, but also he wants to make
35.
Another century. That's why he'll be annoyed to be short of this red.
36.
So now, having been forced to play for the blue, the best he can do is 41. Then 4 reds, 4 blacks would be 73, and then the colours exactly 100. But the main priority, Dave, as you said, must be winning the frame, because if he does so, that affords him potentially more
41.
matches, more chances to make centuries.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, I think, if he ends up going to the Crucible on, say, 95. Do you really want that pressure on you? I mean, it's first world problems, I know, but anyway, we'll see down the line what he is on going to Sheffield. Not won this frame yet, clearly. It's only 7 in front. And that's gone wrong.
Yeah, I think his pursuit of a century there might have been slightly misguided. Obviously, making centuries at the top of his priority list, that's quite clear. But if you win matches and get into the playoffs, then you've got more matches to do it.
Well, there was a famous recent example of a player chasing a century that not only, well, ultimately cost them the match, but I think set them back massively. Neil Robertson against Joe O'Connor at the Scottish Open. He was bossing their semi-final, chose to try and star on blacks to make a century. There's no prize or anything then, he was just trying to make one. And Joe made a fantastic clearance, went on to win that match, and after that, Robertson, his form for about a year was not very good. We know he dropped out the top 16. Obviously, he's since returned to winning ways, but, you know, the game can come back to bite you if you're not careful.
Yeah, I think Trump's concentration on that last visit was affected by the fact he was trying to work out what he needed to do to get to 3 figures, rather than just clear up, which would have been second nature. He's just apologised to Jack Jones. That means the yellow is in the way of the red. So, Dave, with all of this flurry of break building, we're not seeing that many frames that go close. This one will.
Yeah, and a lot of people enjoy those frames, of course, because that's when tactics and a bit of pressure can play its part. Well, they'll be concerned here. Okay. Well, the red by the pink is tied up, I think. The red by the black as well. So there's work to do, but he'll have the chance to do it. Potting the initial red. Oh, but he's not potted it. So this is a very different sort of frame.
If there has been a weakness for Judd Trump so far this week, he has missed quite a few to middle. Didn't see that one coming, though.
One. Four. Five.
Cue ball has meandered on enough to leave the requisite angle on blue.
Ten. Jones 10.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure initially that actually went, but it did. But as you can see, he's covered it. So Trump looking to go up and down. If he pots it, you think he'd probably land on something. So this is a chance to get it won if he can pot this. Cue ball's travelling a long way, isn't it?
Foul. The miss.
And there you go, he didn't hit it. So Jack Jones then with a more realistic chance to level the match.
And maybe that's the snooker gods just telling Judd Trump not to be quite so cheeky when it comes to century pursuits.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame Trump. You know, there is a prize, and also we keep talking about it. So we're as guilty as anyone, really, of bigging it up. But he definitely was on his mind there, rather than winning the frame, and it looks like probably going to cost him.
One.
It was a calculated gamble to go for the century because, as I say, if he wins the match, that gives him more leeway to have more snooker.
caught the brown, and it's not finished good now. It's been that sort of frame. It's suddenly become hard work, as it's supposed to be, of course. Well, it's a major chance missed, really, from Jack Jones to win the frame there after Trump failed to hit that red going up and down the table. 12 points in it. Sorry, 8 points in it, I should say.
And this is why Judd Trump is a serial winner. Okay, we talk about his break building and his potting, but when it comes to his safety play, so improved. Now, normally if you're in front on the colours, knocking the black safe is to your advantage, but Trump, from here, needs to clear only yellow to pink. Doesn't need the black.
Two.
Five.
So there I was, Dave, being an old fuddy-duddy, criticising Trump for going for the century, but it might not matter anyway.
Well, what we saw there with the snooker he laid behind the green is the other side of his game, isn't it? Which has vastly improved over the years. The all-round game. I think he's as good as anyone, actually, all-round now. The way he thinks, the way he puts players in trouble when he has to. Still needs this pink. Oh, he needed the blue first. Well, he was on the pink, but he didn't pop the blue.
Trump 9.
Now, Jack Jones has got to get from blue to pink.
Again, those middle pocket woes. And the thing is, if Jones pots the blue, Trump will need the awkward black. So the pendulum swung.
Yeah, he had a look at going cushion first. He felt that was the best way to get on the pink, but he made the pot more difficult. This is a different sort of frame, but maybe the most compelling one we've seen all morning.
I'll tell you what, Trump would love to tuck it away. Watching that with a lot of attention. He didn't want the blue to get snagged up in the jaws of the pocket.
Joe O'Connor just quickly has beaten Tom Ford 3-1. Double kiss from Jones. He got away with it, I think. Well, very much so. He holds his hand up. Could easily have left that blue on.
Yeah, a couple of times now. Jones has been fortunate to get away with mistakes on the blue. misjudgment.
Foul.
That was precisely
Control 5.
what he didn't want to do. Okay, Trump will still need the pink, but now Jones requires that awkwardly placed black. And that's if he gets a chance to get back to the table.
Well, he's had trouble with the middles today, but he's potted that, and it's all on this one now.
Fine.
This is match ball for Judd Trump. Could have been easier.
It is in, and Judd Trump, just as he did in Group 5, gets 2 wins on the board very swiftly indeed. Earlier, he beat his pal, Jack Lisowski, 3-2. Now he defeats Jack Jones by 3 frames to 1. One more match on this table in this session. Coming up, it's Dave Gilbert against Jack Lisowski.
It's Group 6 of the BetVictor Championship League. That's what's been happening today. Judd Trump, 2 wins for him, back-to-back over Jack Lisowski and Jack Jones. Table 2, Noppen Saengkham of Thailand beat Dave Gilbert 3-1. And in the all-Leicester affair, Joe O'Connor beat Tom Ford 3-1, but of course he did miss the last black on a 147 there on 140. Joe staying on now to play Noppon. And on table 1 is Dave Gilbert against Jack Lisowski. Obviously, whoever loses that will have played 2, lost 2. So in this table, they'd be struggling. But it's very early days. Trump, though, I guess it's no surprise to already see him top. O'Connor and Saengkham with a point each, but a long, long way to go, of course. But it is about getting in the top 4 tomorrow night to be in the playoffs for a chance to get into the winners' group. There's only 2 places left now. Of course, at the end of play Saturday, we'll have our 7 players set for that winners' group, which will be the first week of February. I'll just show you what's happening on table 2. They're just starting here. Noppen Saengkham and Joe O'Connor.
Joe O'Connor.
That was pretty agonising, Stephen, wasn't it? I mean, you know, we've had some near misses for maximums, but to miss the last black, pretty sickening.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. I just saw him in the corridor upstairs and just sort of looked at him between the fingers of my hands, and he just said, "Don't mention it. I don't want to talk about it." Absolute heartbreak for Joe. It wasn't an easy black, was it? It's missable at any stage. Never mind on a 147.
Well, there'll be more chances, I guess. Noppen Saengkham, of course, he made one in Riyadh, and if he makes one in the World Championship, he will get a bonus of 147,000. That applies also to Zhang Anda and Sean Murphy, or indeed anyone who makes 2 in the World Championship. But yeah, Joe, well, he got over it. He won the match, and now it's about just trying to get the points on the board to get himself back in the playoffs. Of course, he got in last night, although it was in the balance until late on.
Of course, it can't be far to a year to the day nearly that Joe made his 147 last year here.
Well, you missed our niche stat, Stephen. I'd said to Phil, okay, he did when he made the maximum. It was a, well, no one can do it this year because it was on February the 29th. Bet you're pleased you missed it now.
No, yeah, I remember it was. You're right, yeah.
Phil was very impressed with it anyway. Anyway, this is live on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel, and they're getting on with it on table 2 as well. It's an interesting group. Noppen Saengkham, very popular player with snooker fans, you know, very humble character, but also terrific talent. Good to see him here today. Coming in, of course, with Lisowski and Gilbert, and they're going to be playing shortly on table 1. But Judd Trump already looking good, 2 wins out of 2, and he's got 2 more matches later, so certainly if he won them both, he'd be nailed on for the playoffs. Even if he only won 1, you think he's in good shape. But of course, last night, Matt Sell did beat him 3-0. So we've got Hossein Vafai, Sejar Wee, Mark Selby, Karen Wilson and Matt Sell in the winners group. As I say, just 2 more places left to find. Saengkham O'Connor continues on Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel. Now it's time for Dave Gilbert and Jack Lisowski. Dave Gilbert just turning his phone off, I think.
Okay. Take your first frame. David Gilbert to break.
Gilbert, of course, a former winner of the Championship League ranking event back in 2021. Not been the best season for him. He's reached a couple of quarter-finals in ranking events, the Xi'an Grand Prix and the British Open. Oh, he's called a foul there. He just...
Jack Lisowski 4.
I think he just brushed the red, he said, I think.
Now, does this red pot to right corner? He's very close to it. If he could just nip the cue ball and push through, beyond the black. Oh, what a mistake that was from Dave.
1.
Now Jack's got the chance to screw into that pack, possibly back out as well. Beyond the red. Well, he's hit it too good. Looked like he'd be on the red next to the black.
8. Lisowski 8.
Well, he has left an opener here.
Kept an eye on his game first thing against Noppon Saengkham. That was played over on table 2, and Dave seemed to struggle a lot. He had a couple of really good chances, particularly in the first frame. Noppon broke down on a maximum attempt, and Dave had a great chance to steal. Broke down very early on, missed a yellow. Not necessarily worrying times for Dave, because it's still very early on in this group. This is only his second match, but he would like to cut out those easy mistakes that he made against Noppon. Didn't quite get enough backspin on the cue ball there, so he's landed straight on this blue. Next red is going to be more difficult. Similar sort of shot he's got to try and screw the cue ball, get top side of the blue this time.
10.
Just needs to give it a little more.
$11. $16. $17.
Well, that was a much better shot than it looked. He had to really power that red in to create more angle than he actually had, and he has crept top side of the blue, so he's got the chance to go into the reds. Plenty of topspin off the side cushion. He's been unfortunate.
22.
Just looked like a brick wall that he's gone into there. There was barely any movement to the reds.
I'll take it.
Well, he felt, Jack felt there he didn't actually hit one, so he's been put back in again. All the centuries we've had, and now suddenly it's tip-tapping away.
Jack immediately putting an end to that stalemate. He wants no part in a frame like that.
clattered into another red. So Gilbert has forced an error. Black's free as well now.
That was a very nice strike from Dave. Found the cue ball round the reds as well, perfect for the black. The red just next to the black spot will pot to this left corner. Took the chance to try and get the reds moving. Been a little bit unlucky again. He's landed on a red, but well, it's a very thin one to the middle. Well, so much so that he's not even going to entertain it. He's looking for the safety option.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be very wary, of course, of Lisowski's abilities, one of the great talents in our sport.
Well, that's a really poor safety shot from Dave. He was trying to catch that red in such a way that the cue ball would go twice across and in behind the yellow. He's caught it way too thin. But he hasn't been punished.
Yeah, a rather sloppy frame, let's be honest, and now a much better chance for Gilbert. Already 22 in front to get it won. Just a bit of focus needed here, the concentration.
1. Eight. 9. 16.
Now, no more cannons required for Dave. All the reds are there for him.
17.
He's got this frame won in the end, it seems. A couple of chances he's let go. I suppose in some ways similar to Jack Lisowski in his first match against Judd Trump. There was a mistake he made in the first frame that was just such a basic mistake to make. He got punished in the end.
25.
I think both of these players respect one another. They know how good each of them are. And as well, I suppose Dave was probably spoken about as one of the best players to have never won a ranking event before he lifted the Championship League title.
32.
Yeah, that's right. At least he's got himself off that list. He'd been in 4 finals, hadn't he, before that? Lisowski's been in 6. Which in itself is a great achievement, but obviously he wants to translate it into winning a title. It's actually 4 years, though, since his last final, Lisowski.
37.
These two, you know, you think of them as top 16 players. Of course, they have been. But it's harder than ever to be a top 16 player. There's a lot of really good players just outside that bracket. I mean, Neil Robertson's one of them. Jack Jones. So on and so on.
43.
Right, never quite looked in,
43 and the
but
frame.
65 in front with 51 on. The damage done. A rather scrappy frame, but it's gone to Dave Gilbert. So, not the cleanest frame we've seen today, but it went to Dave Gilbert. That's all he's interested in. Looking, of course, to win his first match here, as is Lisowski. They were each beaten on their opening outings. Table 2, Joe O'Connor 1-0 up in Saengkham.
And that's much better from Jack. Another one of his trademark long reds, but Dave Gilbert cannot afford to leave Jack from range with hand on table.
Six.
Oh, and that's another superb
7.
positional shot. So aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, in about 2 shots, he's basically got everything in the open here. I mean, nobody disputes he's a wonderful talent.
15.
Really special talent. It's just finding that extra few percentage points that makes him into a tournament winner.
Well, he can't stop going into the reds here, Jack. He's gone into them after every colour pretty much here. And I think this time he's come up a little awkward. Is he on one? He's stuck on a red. He may not consider... Well, he obviously can't see the red to right corner, otherwise he'd have been down playing it by now. Is he going for the thin clip to middle? He is, but he doesn't like it.
20.
I mean, the thing is, there were plenty of open reds already before he played the last cannon. So, I suppose you could say in some ways he was inviting trouble, and he found it.
Yeah, a lot seemed to happen in that break for Jack for just 20 points. And look at the table now.
Yeah, it's help yourself time really for the man they call the Angry Farmer.
4.
Well, he calls himself that actually. Of course, his family business is farming. Dave's got his own business, so he's got his club. Swaddling coat, Potters, and I think he said he was opening a couple more as well, thinking of it.
Yeah, it looks like it does really well, that club, which is great to see because there's so many clubs around the UK that are closing down and going out of business. Very difficult in that trade. It seems to be thriving, which is great. No doubt it helps having someone like Dave at the helm. He's a top snooker player, and instantly that brings in punters. I can imagine he creates a pretty good atmosphere as well in there as well.
8.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dave Gilbert's great value actually. He's often very down on himself, which is not nice to sort of hear, because he's such a great talent. And he had that wonderful run at the Crucible, of course, to the World Championship semi-finals last year.
$60.
I think so many sort of British guys who've grown up in snooker clubs, they have that natural self-deprecating manner because it's all come from the way you're sort of treated in those places.
17. Five.
Well, he's just overscrewed a fraction, but he's looking at these two reds close together. Feels they're set to a plant to this left corner. Yeah, they're not far off. He had to make it, but he's turned it over too much.
Gilbert, 27.
Well, that's a surprising miss because he was pretty close behind that. He did need to just make it to the other side of the pocket. Turned it over too much. That was a unexpected mistake from Dave.
Yes, he'll be annoyed there because he had Lisowski firmly on the ropes in this match, heading for a 2-0 lead.
Even more disappointed as well because he didn't play for that plant. He played for the loose red. He well overscrewed the cue ball down the table.
Red did go in, but he had a slight second thoughts on the way, I think. Nothing boring about watching Jack, is there? It's all sort of edge of the seat stuff.
Nine.
Yeah, it's almost like every shot is played with flair. There's always something behind what he's doing. Never likes to just drop the ball in or just make it very simple. He always has to play with a little bit of something. That's what makes him so good to watch.
17. 18. 25.
Well, he will need that red that's on the side cushion closest to the middle pocket.
26.
He's quite well placed for a potential double. He's just checking to see if this one red more in open play will pass the green and blue into the green pocket. He can just float the cue ball, try and get it on the side cushion in behind that red. Give himself an option of pockets to pot it into, and that's perfect.
33. 34.
I think he's got to take on the double now. Pot his colour, leave himself sort of parallel to the red, and that will give him a chance to make the double.
Blue ball.
So just needs the red. Oh, but not there. He's run safe though. 32 in front, 35 on, and Gilbert is snookered. Must hit this first and foremost. Oh, and he hasn't. He's hit the black, and he's conceded. Well, that frame finished very suddenly, and it's gone in the end to Jack Lisowski, who levels the match at 1 each. Well, it's a bit of a blur the way that frame ended, but basically Gilbert was in the snooker. He just clipped the black escaping
Frame 3, Dave Gilbert.
and needed snookers himself, and it looked like he might have left a free ball, although he conceded before the before the white stopped running. But anyway, he did concede, so it's 1 each. And Lisowski, he made a few errors himself, but ultimately happy to be all square. Remember, both players lost their opening matches today.
I think we can get a sense of how both players want this match to unfold. Everything has been all-out attack right from the off. Ooh, but that's a bad miss from Dave. Not only missing the pot, but he's not even got on the red. Well, he's pushed a red over this left corner and he's not going to be helped by the yellow. So once again, a chance for Dave to get himself back in. Not so much the pot this, it's the cue ball. Can he get his white back up the table? Oh, and he's tried to pinch a little bit of the pocket, tried to pot it thick, and he's missed the red.
Bit sort of frantic, this match, isn't it? It's like they think at any minute the lights are going to be turned out. Can Lisowski just find a bit of calm here?
1.
Do they not know they don't need to rush? Lunch isn't served till 3. Pretty much every frame has gone the same way, though. They've, from the off, tried to get the pack open, gone into the red so many times, get the ball spread far and wide. It's been quite an untidy start to the match, I suppose. I think also as well, they've acknowledged that the conditions are so good, the tables are playing so well, and the pockets are on the generous side, that it's just going to be all-out scoring once again today. All the players are so good, they just want to make big breaks all day.
Ten. 11. $60. 17.
Plays that type of shot with so much ease, Jack Lisowski. Got this lovely long swing in cue action. Draws the cue right back to the hand. That just allows him to create so much acceleration through the ball, which in turn means he can get basically effortless spin on the cue ball. Like this. He's found the gap, has he? He's not quite got the reds open. But again, just to get the cue ball racing round the angles like that took very little effort out of him.
Well, again, I mean, he can get this cue ball anywhere, can't he? You know, I mean, the black had been on its spot, that wouldn't have been so tough, but he had to get the white out of there, and again, it fizzes into the middle of the table.
It's like watching an exhibition, this. They're going for absolutely everything.
Yeah, I mean, you can see why Jack is a great fan favourite. I think that obviously a lot of people want to see him winning tournaments, but just love watching him play. The talent that he has.
33.
Feels like there isn't a part of the table that this cue ball hasn't seen during this break. But the break's over. I mean, he wasn't ideal on that by any means. Hang on, it's not done yet, though. This could be in. This could be in. Oh!
Lisowski, 36.
Yeah, he played the green with his right hand and didn't quite get the purchase on the cue ball that he intended. Landed slightly too close to that side cushion. It made the difference in the end. And Dave taking the chance. He had the perfect angle there to go into them reds. He's played it so well. Now he's one good pot away. It's pink to middle. Just float it in. Red over the pocket waiting. Oh, that's such a bad miss from Dave.
Gilbert 1.
He'll be so disappointed with that one.
Yeah, having got the reds open and given himself every chance, he then misses that. That was unexpected. So Lisowski with a useful lead. Now this is about just trying to take a bit of care. Just focus and get the job done.
Yeah, and again there, I've got no idea why he was even looking at the pink. The yellow for a left-hander was ideal. Play on the red in balk. Doesn't need to get the pink back on its spot.
3.
The reds in open play are enough for him to win this frame.
4.
Well, that's not the best positional shot he's ever played. Meant that he had to get the cue ball round the angles. Now that is not unlucky. That was a bad shot from the brown. He had to get low on that red to just drop it in for the blue. He landed the wrong side, which meant he tried to go round the angles, back up for the blue. It's not a bad. That's not an unlucky shot there from Jack to find the middle pocket. It was a poor shot.
Well, well, he's been so lucky here, Gilbert. I mean, that cue ball could have finished anywhere. Rather, to say, frantic old frame. Indeed, the whole match is like this. Feels like we're sort of watching it on double speed. But Lisowski, having been in a position a moment ago where it looked like he couldn't possibly lose it, has just handed Gilbert his chance to win it. You think of a player like, let's say, Mark Selby, 38 in front with 3 reds on. There's no way he's losing that frame. He won't be going for everything either. He'll just make sure he wins it.
Did exactly the same thing in the first frame against Judd Trump earlier. It's just, I suppose it's just a lack of discipline from the brown that Jack played. He's just played down the table for the red. Like he's going to be on the red, yes, but the fact he landed the wrong side meant he had to play the red round the angles. And ultimately, that's what's cost him. This is a tough clearance for Dave. The green and brown, the two obvious problem balls. But the fact he's even got a chance is a miracle. For him, anyway.
40.
It was almost like he was playing too quick, Jack, that he didn't give himself enough time to even think about the shot he was playing. These players, they see the game so quickly, see the shot so quickly, but sometimes you just need that little bit of nous when you're in that position. Just get the frame won.
$15. Gilbert 15.
Joe O'Connor, meanwhile 2-0 up in Saengkham. Well, that's a terrific pot, and he's got round the back of the green, so Brown over the pocket. A great chance again, but there's been a few, but this is a terrific pot from Gilbert.
Yeah, how well has he played it? Not just the pot, the position. Shot of the day for me so far.
5. $9. $40.
Well, 38 in front with 3 reds on Lisowski. Look, the only winner of this frame. Well,
20.
he is on it. It could have been easier. He's thin. But it kind of sums up the frame, really. Not a gimme, but it is to lead 2-1. Yeah, it was a great yellow from Gilbert, and he's made a good clearance. So Dave Gilbert leads Jack Lisowski here in Leicester by 2 frames to 1. So 2-1 to Dave Gilbert. It could have been any score, frankly, after the first 3 frames, but Jack Lisowski needs this one to set up what for him will be a second decider of the day. Of course, Trump beat him 3-2 earlier. I think some of the staunch tactical players of old watching this would maybe have turned off by now. It's been very open, but it's been entertaining at the same time. I mean, we've only had 2 shots played, and look at the Reds already.
That's a very good long pot from Jack. Took an extra second on that, just feathered a couple more times. Stayed with it the whole way as well. Yeah, knocked in a very good blue just to recover things. So first good chance to Jack.
6.
Black is out of commission. I think he's only available into 1 pocket at the minute.
Seven.
Well, for all that I know some fans get frustrated by him, let's be honest, we'd all love to be able to play like this. It's very eye-catching.
There's a lot of players actually that can play like this on the practice table, and you go around clubs and practice with other pros and stuff, and they can all do this, but to have the confidence to be able to do it on the match table, that's the difference with Jack. He plays like this in practice, and he plays like it in on the match table.
23.
Not everyone is able to actually commit to playing in this carefree manner because, well, they feel like they're playing very carelessly. It's hard to do that because it means everything to the players out there.
Well, it's already a golden chance to win the frame, but this again is where just discipline is required. He sort of feels like he's done the hard work. So now it's about making sure of the easier stuff now that he's close in to level up.
Yeah, you're right. It's these little shots that cost Jack, like the little positional shots where he's leaving his cue ball, just making sure he gets the right side of each ball every time. It doesn't take much effort to just consider that before you play the shot. You're right, it's just that little bit of discipline that's needed. Because he's shown us he can get the cue ball anywhere on the table, so landing the right side of each ball shouldn't be an issue for him.
44. Five.
At least Ian Wagstaff's getting his steps in today.
51.
I think I'll need to lie down after this.
52.
He had his Fitbit on his hand. It's probably flashing at him, telling him to slow down.
bit unlucky that black's just got in the way of the red to right corner. So it leads by 58. There's still plenty on though.
Lisowski 58.
Well, Gilbert's reaction to that, he's not impressed. So, a couple more reds required, and it's going to be 2-2.
One.
Well, still needs potting. Made that look very easy, didn't he? Anyway, red and the colour.
7.
Well, in fact, this red should be sufficient. Oh, it's not in. Wow.
Lisowski 7.
Once again, Dave Gilbert comes to the table. He'd probably already resigned himself to the fact that we was going the distance here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if that had gone in, he would have actually just conceded. He said, because that's been the sort of match it's been, but it wasn't in.
I mean, this would be the clearance of the century, surely. How does he stay on the black from here? The two reds left of the black spot. They won't pot at the minute, so may choose to play a little holding cannon here. Oh, he's played it to perfection, and now he's got every chance. So just the red up in the balk area, or close to the balk area, is causing slight problems for Dave.
8.
He's done well from the first red to keep himself on the black. He can afford one pink.
9.
That wasn't the best shot from the previous red to take the pink with that one.
50.
Probably would have liked to have kept it as an option to play off from the last red up the table. This meant he didn't have
16.
to travel as far. Now he needs all blacks to win the frame by 1.
Twenty-three. 24. 31. 32.
Great pot, but he needs another cut back on this black. Must pot it, otherwise snooker's required. Superb. Now he's caught the knuckle, so didn't finish on the yellow as
39.
intended. I'll tell you what though, if he carries on here, this is going to be some clearance.
Yeah, just for the record, it won't be the dish of the century, but it will be a very good dish. This yellow will just pot. Can he get it past the blue, or is it going to be the middle? Wow, what a shot.
41.
Checks the cue ball up down the table. How has Jack Lisowski lost this frame?
Yeah, I mean, he should just have made sure of the red, shouldn't he, for the frame? Whether he felt it rolled off slightly, I don't know, but I mean, could have just potted it, but he didn't. And now Gilbert, well, he's certainly done all the hard work, plenty of it actually.
48.
This has been such a good clearance. How well's he hit the red into the yellow pocket to get back down for the black, and then the pot on the black was amazing. Looking to land straight on this pink. Needs that cue ball just to run.
53.
He's perfect.
Well, it's going to be a hard break for Lisowski. I mean, it was 2-2 all day long, wasn't it? Till he missed that red. But credit to Gilbert.
59.
He needs this black for a wonderful clearance to snatch victory at 3-1. Well, that was superb. What a break from Dave Gilbert.
Dave Gilbert.
He gets his first point on the board here in Group 6 of the Championship League. And for Jack Lisowski, it's 2 played, 2 lost. But that is some break from Gilbert. All the centuries we've seen, but that was pretty special. So that concludes the session, and it's been an exciting session at that. We've had a couple of wins, as you can see, for Judd Trump. So he's got 2 points out of 2. Dave Gilbert with his first win. And on table 2, Saengkham and Joe O'Connor both won. They're now playing each other. And it is O'Connor who leads 2-0, and in fact is in front in the next as well with a chance to win 3-0. That continues on the Mattioli Multisport YouTube channel. That's the table as it stands. So Trump 2 from 2, Gilbert and O'Connor and Saengkham all with 1 point. And it looks, as I say, like O'Connor may join Trump on 2 points there. Lisowski in early trouble. Jack Jones and Tom Ford also yet to get off the mark. This is what we've got coming up from 4:30 local time. 2 matches involving Judd Trump. He plays Dave Gilbert and Tom Ford. In between, it's Lisowski against Saengkham. Table 2, Jack Jones back-to-back against Ford and O'Connor, and then Gilbert O'Connor to conclude the day. So it's been an exciting start to our first day here of Group 6 of the BetVictor Championship League. Hopefully you'll join us at 4:30 local time for more. But for now, from the whole team in Leicester, it's goodbye.